Weighing about less than 10 pounds collectively. We have one of our two bonded pairs on the adoption floor right now. These guys are going to be Millie and Minnie. So to identify them, Millie is the larger of the two. She's in the little mauve turtleneck sweater. And then Minnie is the smaller of the two in the pink cable knit. And they are a bonded pair. They have to be adopted together, and they basically want to do this 24/7. All they want to do is sit in your lap and lick your face and be lavish with attention. They're a relatively young pair of dogs. They're only 2 years old. So they still have a long life ahead of them. They're very easy to kind of handle and deal with. We didn't have any problems handling their feet, their mouth. They walk fairly nicely, as I've been told, but as most small dogs do, they kind of prefer to be carried around and cuddled. They can be a little bit fearful of loud noises. When we moved them onto the adoption floor, the kennel visitors were here and all the dogs were barking, and you could tell that they were a little bit uneasy about all of the noise and things like that. But after a few minutes, they kind of calmed down, and especially if someone's around, kind of give them that support. There's no restrictions on who can adopt them. The only restriction is that they must be adopted together.
So you mentioned that they are a bonded pair. What led us to that decision?
So different things can make those determinations. With them, they have always lived together. So that's one of the things that we take into consideration. They are, as we've been told, litter mates who have always lived together. And then we look at how they rely on each other for emotional support. When they're really nervous, they cling to each other, they seek each other out. When they're separated, they feel less comfortable. You can see their body language and their temperaments kind of change when they're alone. That helps us determine whether or not any set of animals, whether they're dogs or cats, should be adopted as a bonded pair.
They were recently shaved down also. Why did we do that?
So recently we've had quite a few small dogs come in, and one of the common problems with small dogs is, unfortunately, people are not providing them with the proper grooming maintenance on these long-haired dogs, and then they get very matted. So these guys were not as matted as some, like Brussels sprout and a piccolo, who have been on the floor recently, but they had just some lots of stuff stuck in their fur, and were kind of grimy and gross and matted. So want to make sure that anybody who's adopting these dogs, or any of the other long-haired dogs that end up on our adoption floor, that you're providing them with the proper grooming maintenance. They need to be brushed, they need to be groomed, they need to be bathed a little bit more frequently than a short-haired dog like most of, say, our traditional pit bull mixes and things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're fully prepared for that part of the upkeep, but also the financial requirement of getting them groomed and things like that properly. If you are willing to take both of these guys on and make them part of your family, the first step is going to be to make an appointment to visit, and you can do that by going to visitfcac.as.me.